This is week 8's discussion. Number 1. What evidence does this case provide for formulating and implementing a systematic approach to performance appraisal? To me, there is no systematic approach to performance appraisal. Frank talked to Sue before he went on leave about Lola's performance, and that was it. Lola's evaluation was months later and not in a formal setting. Frank should have done the evaluation before he left, or he should have talked to Sue or somebody else to do it right away when her yearly eval came up. There's no reason it should have been delayed for 5 months. Number 2, do you believe that Lola's performance evaluation was valid and reliable? Do you feel that Frank had a bias or stereotypical mind when filling out the evaluation? Explain your answer. I said, I believe that Lola's performance evaluation was valid, but not so reliable. I believe that Frank had a bias and the business was very stereotypical. Lola felt that there was some sexual harassment that was going on, and from the sounds of it, there was. This article said that Lola did not meet her goals, and she was the one that said that. This company was mainly white males and not a lot of women. The company or Frank had some bias about women, and that is why they decided they needed to diversify or hire some different groups of people. I also think that Frank did some sort of sexual comments or did something that was not right, and that is why Lola was filing the sexual harassment suit and wrote an 18-page rebuttal about her evaluation. Number 3. What in this case indicates a problem with the supervisor's evaluation? Please connect examples from this case on what the chapter discusses. Well, first, Frank had a bias against Lola because he had made some sexual remarks to her or did something that was not very appropriate. Frank was not the only one that had a bias, the business did too. Even if the business really didn't mean to, it was mostly white males and they hardly had any other race or any other women. The only one that said was Sue was the other woman. Frank developed an accurate performance even though Lola did not agree with it. The business did not properly plan an evaluation interview. Part of this is because Frank was out on leave, which you can't necessarily blame him for it, but Sue should have scheduled the performance and done the interview in a properly and timely manner. There's no reason, like I have said, that it should have taken 5 months for them to do this evaluation. Number 4. How did Lola, her supervisor, and human resource connect with one another? Do you feel the performance appraisal interview should have been more formal, established, and conducted? Why or why not? It was basically just word of mouth how they connected or communicated with one another. Frank discussed with Sue that he was not pleased with Lola's performance. Frank wrote up a review of Lola and then went on leave with an illness. Her interview should have been in person, either before Frank left or Frank should have talked to someone, like I've said before, to do the evaluation. It is not fair to Lola to not have a formal evaluation like everyone else does. Even though Frank went on leave, there still should have been some sort of evaluation because that's just common courtesy. Number 5. How can Lola's accusation of sexual harassment affect her personal work performance and her performance evaluation? First, if I was Lola, I would have filed the suit too. If Frank or anyone was sexually harassing her, it needed to be dealt with right away. That is not something that anyone wants to have to deal with at work. If it keeps going on, most people will dread going to work and their performance will go down. They will feel that their job doesn't care that someone is harassing them, and they will not have the same productivity as they did when they first started. It should not affect her performance evaluation, but it probably will. Something like this needs to be dealt with on a whole different level as her evaluation, even though businesses would still have some sort of bias towards you now, even more than ever.